eyes don't know what's gonna happen when they're full.
Betwixt the raising of the undying emperor and the great planar war that shook the heavens, there was an age of contradiction, where cannons won kingdoms and muskets kept the peace. A brave few won the hearts of the conquered and conquerors alike. Of these we speak of the decline of the great kingdoms and cultures under the heel of empire. Of those we speak of gladiators and the untold thousands that worshipped them. Of this, an age of glory, where kings would be slaves and a gladiator would be king.
Greetings and welcome to Die Dragon Die presents the Dread and Circus campaign, season 4, episode 1. I'm your goddamn DM, and these are my players, Adam, Ahmed, and Mark. How is everyone doing today? I'm gonna unmute your faces, and Ahmed's the coach.
Ahmed's the couch and a Call of Duty poster.
Is that what that is? Yep,
That's
yeah.
Call of Duty.
Nice. How is everyone doing this fine Friday evening?
Oh, not bad, not bad.
Yeah, what's up in your world, Mark?
I'm just starting my 7 days off, so that's nice. Can't
That's a
complain.
Good way to start it.
7 days off.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's the way my schedule works. So you work like an asshole for 3 weeks for a week off
like
every
an
month. It's
asshole.
like, oh, fuck off.
I don't know if that's good or terrible. It's
Some people. I tried to get the schedule changed already as soon as I got there. I liked my old schedule better. It was a little more even keel, and you still get a stretch with 6 days off instead of 7. But apparently, some people are no, I want 7. I'm like, oh, okay, well, you're a fucking idiot, but okay. And if you're watching, yeah, I mean you.
Next game, Mark's like, I don't have a job anymore. Apparently the guys do work. Watch.
oh no. My week of work is done. I don't have any. Nobody should be calling me this weekend. From now till Sunday, D&D, pancakes, naps. Make my butt feel better because I just squatted today a lot and now my butt hurts. But that's gonna be cured by not so much D&D curing it, but the pancakes and the naps that will cure it. That will.
Don't eat too much pancakes or your butt will be sore again.
I don't know how many pancakes would be required for that. Now if we're talking like nachos or like something super
The number
fibrous,
is
maybe.
10.
The number is
10.
the number is 10. No more, no less. It is 10.
10 standard size. If you're going a larger waffle, like if you're going full pan
Oh, full pan.
waffles, you're gonna want to stop at 5 at least.
Oh, full pan stack of 4 with some eggs and
Okay.
bacon. Ooh.
Ahmed, what's going on with you, man?
Come on, guys.
Hey.
I started fasting. Today's day 3, and you're doing all right. It's a little harsh, but I'm good.
I'm gonna go have some ice cream.
Oh, I can eat now.
Oh, okay. But tomorrow.
What are we starting to coincide with? Like just after breakfast.
Breakfast. Oh, like
break fast.
breaking. Oh yeah. Still there. It's 8:20 tomorrow.
Okay, so
It'll be after. It'll be a little
do
after.
you want to start 8:30? Or do you want to start at 7?
No, start good time, man. Start
Okay.
right on time.
Turn on time.
It's season 4.
Marty,
Yeah.
what was the epic conclusion of season 3?
The
Usually there's like an epic, or is this one of those like a?
It's one of these ones where the bare knuckle bear fight was Magnus coming out. If we remember, Magnus was in prison at the beginning of season 3. Like he got his he basically got taken out of the fighting for a while, and then him coming back and having the bare knuckle bear fight.
Which was not.
There was a lot of It's hard to, because I'm flexible with what you guys want to do. I want to go on pirate quest. It's like, okay, you know, like there's no way for me to plot this out game by game. But 20 games in now, I just want to read off the numbers of games because we've hit a kind of a milestone with this campaign, and Demon Lord's kind of poking at it right now. So the Doomsday campaign, which was kind of like a prequel to this to this campaign, was 14 episodes. Season 1 was 43 episodes. Season 2 was 23 episodes, and season 3 was 20 episodes. Our last game was actually our 100th game in this campaign. So this is game 101. So I think what I'm going to do, there are some like regulars that partake in our stream, and I'm going to let's see.
Your billing points. You're just handing
Oh
them
yeah,
out
let's
quickly.
do that. I'm also going to do this once. Come on. I'm trying to open up a document. So I think there are some regulars, including Demon Lord. I just want to get their proper spellings of their Foxfire 710. Can someone grab me Lucas's actual? It's Lucas number something, and then there's Kenny number something, and then Drakester number. All these have numbers, so I don't.
Drakester 81. The Drakester 81.
The Drake. Is there any? Are there any special characters?
No, just all together.
Okay. So I'm going to start with Fox.
They've become centurions.
Nope.
Lead on, adventurer. Your quest awaits.
I'm very big.
Thanks, Fox, for being with us for 100 episodes. Demon Lord.
And please stay with us. You can't leave us.
Lead on, adventurer.
This awkward relationship.
Thanks for being with us for 100 episodes, man. It's super cool that you guys are hanging out with us.
100 episodes of this campaign.
Of this campaign, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's more like 150 or something, 60 episodes.
So the Drakester,
Legends has been around for a while.
80. Is it
Nope.
the Drakester 81? I'm not sure.
We've been.
That's what's listed up top as #1 cheerleader.
Oh, right. He's in the Drakester 81. Okay. Should I wait until he's on stream? Yeah, I'll wait until Kenny and Lucas are on stream to do that. So won't be able to do that every month, but for this month, the sub's on us. Awesome. Why don't we do a recap of what happened last game?
There was a bear fight.
I haven't even gifted subs to these assholes. They are VIPs though, so I think they get some of the sub benefits and that sort of thing. But yeah,
No,
yeah.
I can go.
Mark,
Every time I turn on
look at
Twitch
Mark.
and click on this finger comes up.
That's
Never
funny.
go fuck yourself after viewing this.
Here's to 100 more, guys. Here's to 100 more. I remember way back when I suggested duergar to Marty in the Legends campaign. Yep.
That was you. Get out.
Oh, season 4 is going to be. They're going to be. I can't wait. I can't wait. I can't wait.
Here's what happened. We did the political stuff in the city for an extended period of time, and then the gladiator stuff, which is also kind of different.
Yep.
And there's such a Jones on for like adventure and that like that thick the thick, sort of heavy-handed, time-sensitive plots of like no, this is important. It's important right fucking now. And here's the thing, you'll all die.
And
like,
there are 3 separate adventures that are going to go on, right?
So we've got this massive amount of like adventure jonesing going, and it's just going to be like everybody's like, we can adventure. It's okay to adventure.
Okay, the mild conclusion to season 3. The game was called Grin and Bear It. Pun intended. The Tournament of the Blood Rose sees the gladiators from the Coalition of the Black Crucible square off with the gladiators from the Conclave of Crimson Scale and the Circus of Dread. In the Victory in the Veins, Magnus and Ugg square off in bandy words. Damian discovers that Duke Dragall is entertaining the Under-Duke of the Duergar domain of Khazdarak. Magnus has his bare-knuckle chained to a bear match with Ajax the Crawl. The Dexterous reaches the port city of Anchordeep. Sid, Ashoka, and Damian teleport there and convince a pseudo-dragon to return with them to Vatapol, presenting it as a gift to Damian's sister, Anastasia. Damian and Ashoka interrogate Lord Piamo Van Imp about the long-ago activities of the crew of the Manticore and the God's Blood Orchid. A lot of things.
Eventually, he's going to be part of Damian's family. I think he'll be like Damian,
that?
House Wizard, House Mage, eventually.
He's already that's his thought. Yeah.
There's a slow integration for political power.
Yes. Okay, we're gonna resume.
Who first?
We're gonna resume season 4, kind of where we left off with the Conclave, as there are some things going on, and they did not quite finish that particular week of.
Demon is correct. Fleas did punch Titus
Yes,
to death.
that is probably worth noting. So I'm
That
going to
was
say
a boo-boo, guys. I didn't
Fleas.
mean to. I know I was kind of doing some nonsense, but I didn't mean to punch your Titus to death.
In a one-on-one match,
That's to kill someone with a shield bash.
Fleas
Expecting Ashoka to make Titus eat his own tongue, but you know.
kills the Coalition champion Titus with a crushing shield bash to the head.
For whatever reason, Fleas just yelled America and punched him super hard.
And an eagle flew overhead.
The gods demand, or the Empire demands its blood tax. And for some of those that do know, that are in the know, they also secretly demand their soul tax. Of course, Magnus right now, after headaches and after the headaches kind of subside a little bit, and Sid is actually noticing that Magnus seems to feel a little bit better after those drops are fed to him in his food. Magnus can no longer remember the events that transpired when he between the time he died and the time he came back.
I kind of want to use a clone spell on Magnus just to see what happens, because between like the Otra eyeball or finger growing out of his back, whatever new thing he's got in his brain, and then whatever just normal venereal disease he has from being a barbarian, like, was something fun will grow.
All right. Okay. With that note, let us see what the Conclave is up to. Give me a second here. Make sure you guys can see the spreadsheet. So we're week 45 in week 45. We've got Ashoka, Sid, and Damian taking a quick jaunt to Anchordeep. It looked like they wanted to do some role-playing encounters for that week. Looked like Zed wants to visit the tattoo lady, Ashoka wants to have a chat with Lanziver, and Magnus wants to try to find expensive things. Of course, Magnus is actually getting a tattoo right now on the roof of his mouth. It's a tattoo of a ring, a slotless ring of sustenance. So basically, he's constantly licking the top of his mouth and doesn't have to eat. That's hilarious. That is awesome.
Marty,
Yeah.
that's 8K, and it's 2 weeks. There's 10K that I can get. Is it possible that I get a tattoo less than 2K in the same time?
You can. I don't know if there is one worth getting, because tattoos are 1.5. So take 2,000 divided by 1.5,
There
and
is
there is one. Oh, okay.
The Meridian Belt.
I will have to look that up to see what's going on. All right, so
I think that's the one that allows you to use your toes as ring slots.
right.
And the
Okay.
question is, does that open up toe tattoos?
That would open up toe tattoos. It wouldn't open.
Tattoos.
It wouldn't. Give me a second. It would open up both. Because you gain the powers of the thing, and then so you'd be able to wear rings on your.
Yeah, 1800.
Effectively, with tattoos, you could have 8 rings. Yeah, it's a good way to burn your money. Ashoka had his market folks doing some stuff, and why don't we dive right in? So, Ashoka, you spent some time doing your little jaunt to Anchor Deep and then back. It took a few days. You could do a minor task in addition to the RPing if you wanted to.
Is the Asmodean in town?
Are you looking for the Asmodean that you were introduced to?
Yeah, he's specifically he wants to look for a regenerate, somebody who can regenerate.
Got it. So, yes, you go and find the Asmodean. Let me switch from the world map to the Vatapol map. I don't know why I'm on the world map. Because Marty likes maps.
I like the world map. It's very worldly. I like the city map. It's very ciddly. Okay, this didn't work.
Okay, I'm not sure where Ashoka's token is. Do you remember what you guys were doing last time that had you not where you're supposed to be? Did I drag you off to the side?
I should be at either the house or the castle or I think we were. Give me a second. Crystal Golem Estate area? Yeah, Crystal Golem Estate.
Yeah, that's right. You guys were interrogating Lord Piama. Okay, so where is Ashoka?
I just dumped him in the conclave.
Oh, I'm going to dump you back at the Crystal Golem Estate.
Oh.
Because guess where the Asmodean is staying?
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. He found out that the Van Imps were there, and he decided to make his
That makes it really easy for this encounter to happen.
It's like while Damian was chatting with his cohort Measley, and Sid is somewhere. He could actually be listening to this conversation if he wanted to.
Was there any note about Measley in that recap?
There wasn't, but Measley, that's part of Measley's power. He just stays under the radar.
Because that conversation with Measley with the tech thoughts up. Mwah.
Okay. Yeah. What was the Asmodean's name again? I need to search for his token. Or I can go. He was a petrified victim. Kamos Lorn. There we go. Boop. Okay, so you walk back down the stairs after interrogating Lord Piamo Van Imp via Detect Thoughts, and you can see that Kamos Lorn is having a discussion with Under-Countess Zelbrina while Lady Maurice is managing some of her household guards. It is a fine point you make, my dear. Barak Tarn.
Ashoka will cast tongues and...
Borta or prasopran. You cast tongues, and she says, either or. She continues to speak in Dwarvish.
Fine. Ashoka will insert himself into the conversation graciously.
Kamos Lorn kind of stands up and does a slight bow to Ashoka.
Ashoka will bow back. Always a pleasure.
While we are not closely acquainted, may I introduce Ashoka Maruya. He is the chief Lannister of the Conclave of Crimson Scale. This is Under-Countess Zelbrina Urlang of the territory. He chose his word very carefully, even though the dwarves... She raises an eyebrow at that, and there's a slight sneer. The territory of Khazdarak.
Yes, your reputation precedes you. And I understand there's very intriguing mind magics in your territory. And he'll like put emphasis on using this strange word, like just replicating the particular.
Her eyes flash for a moment. You thought you saw something reptilian, and there was a weird, like, chiming noise, and you feel a presence kind of like pulsing at the front of your brain.
Spellcraft?
Sure.
What are you doing in my brain, lady? Turn around is not fair play.
The 23. I wasn't even spellcasting. You think you just witnessed mind magic, and the pulsing is kind of like a polite. You're pretty sure if you reach out and touch it in your mind, you might be able to communicate.
Well, why don't we give it a poke? Let's poke the thing in
Okay.
my brain.
You mean like the mind magic you were attempting to use upstairs?
Oh.
Kamo smiles like he perhaps just went through this.
This is very interesting.
Perhaps I will get drinks, he says, and he's a very polite man.
The attempting is one way of putting it.
I noticed. True mind magics require a different source. Arcane magic or divine typically gets in the way.
This is very difficult to spot, although I did hear something. A ringing noise.
She shrugs and just sort of like fiddles with a cup that is empty. Kamos has gone to go fill those cups with expensive liquor. Is this something that you wanted? All of your people seem to be curious about my kind.
My people are curious about many things.
You feel like even less information she is sharing. This is not like you're reading the surface thoughts from her. She is delivering and packaging up speech to be delivered into the space that you allowed in your mind.
It's like, this is like a telepathy, but not telepathy.
Yep.
It's packet-based telepathy.
It could be telepathy. It's just not you reading her surface thoughts. Like she is projecting what she wants to say to you.
Do your people fight?
Of course we do. While we exult in being one in purpose, it does take a very charismatic and or powerful and or feared leader to galvanize my people. But when we work as one, we, I suppose, for a time, were unstoppable.
Very orderly, I suppose.
Yes. There is the other side of that coin, and that is ambition. Unfortunately, those two sides don't always perfectly align.
Ambition needs to be carefully harnessed in the Empire of Men. Using men as the human, as opposed to...
As a Ludus owner, I assume you have interest in slaves.
Those that can fight, or those that can die in an entertaining fashion.
The curious thing about our culture are those that are too ambitious without waiting for their fellows to fall in line often put themselves at risk to becoming anathema, becoming pariah. If you're still curious about my people, perhaps I could send some of them to you.
Most curious.
She smiles. Of course, condemned. Only condemned would we send.
That is fine. What is your traditional stay of execution? I'm trying to pick a word to mean how long is it, like 1 year condemned, or long-lived race? Is it, decade kind of?
I'm sure it'll all be worked in the particular paperwork, she says, as she's kind of now knows where she could sell. You get the sense that they're not just ordinary slaves, where she could sell political rivals that she's captured.
Yes. I will murder your political prisoners in a place where their souls will be eaten in the middle of the thing, and there's no chance of returning them. Sure.
She seems to pay more attention to Kamos when he sits back down with drinks. Drinks in their tiny little glasses filled with alcohol. It has been some time since I have drank with fellows. Damian, you see a whole lot of lawful evil sitting at a table.
See the start of a bad joke.
Right, as you come down after talking to Measley, and I don't know where Sid is crawling right now, but no one can see Sid, so it's just moot.
Wherever he wants to
Yeah. Damon, you see Kamos. Sid, I guess, like kind of crawled to the room, and for a brief moment you saw him.
Where are we exactly?
You guys are in the Crystal Golem Estates, where Damien's family stays.
There it is.
Ah, the young noble himself. Your mother was going on about how proud she is of you. And you're muted, Mark.
I don't hear Mark.
No, I don't see him either.
But he's all do in terms of the light is on, but nobody's home. We're now playing friggin' charades.
All right,
One
well,
word.
Damien's like, what? And he goes back up to deal with Measley. Sid, are you appearing? Or are you just staying?
People.
There we go. Damien comes back down. The least amused with your presence is the Countess. Kamos is all smiles.
Mark, we do hear you now.
Okay. What map are we on here? I'm just watching on Twitch.
Vatapole. Also, your video's disconnected with your audio, which is fun too.
I'm having laptop issues right now.
Yep. If you're watching the stream, you're also, doubling your bandwidth.
No.
This is awesome.
It's very difficult. Like, I have to stop looking at it because it makes my brain hurt.
So it's been magician.
Nope, Damien's off yelling at his cohort. Hello, and he's like, what? And he turns around again to go deal with Measley, who's trying to get his attention about something. Is there something that I could help you with, Ashoka? Says Kamos.
A friend of mine was gravely injured in an accident.
Ah.
He could use a healer's touch.
My services are always available to those that can pay. Of course, there are many forms of payment. He's a little too excited about other forms of payment for your liking.
Other forms of payment are always willing to be discussed.
Excellent. What particularly is his injury?
An injured wing.
Ah. Permanent injury? Or something that would heal on its own in time? Are we talking maimed?
Maimed. Likely would need a more powerful magic to heal.
What is the level of regenerate? Is that a 7th level spell?
I believe it's 7th.
Ah.
Oh my. Now we need to do the Asmodean blood ritual.
Unfortunately, my god has not granted me such powers as of yet. I know how to wither limbs and make them maimed. I cannot restore them.
8th.
It's Cleric 7, and he can cast 6.
What am I looking at? Rejuvenation.
Is it Cleric 7? I thought it was Cleric 6.
Nope.
No, this is rune magic. The search features betraying me. I think it's 7. My brain says 7.
Yep, 7.
Okay, good. Don't trust what you read on the internet. Your brain's always right.
Never.
Although Mark is stuck with a smarmy look on his face, which is fine.
I could make some inquiries for you to procure a scroll, perhaps, but this will take some time. Many of the worshippers and followers of the old gods have traveled east. And
Yes.
my contacts, well, I've been out of touch with them for a time.
Yes, it was stated that you were found.
Oh, yes, but never lost. I always have my deity with me.
Of course. A scroll, of course, will be funded, or one way or another.
Yes. I would suspect give me a month or so, I would be able to contact some folks in the capital city of Invossa.
Perfect.
Now, when he starts taking out a book and he writes down scroll of, like, it's like a ledger almost, he writes down scroll of regenerate. Let's have a look at the price. A powerful scroll such as this would be at least 3 talents, plus 1,000 gold pieces for transportation, and another 1,000 for the contacts I will have to re-engage. Brings us to a total of 5 talents, and he kind of writes it into the book.
Okay.
He writes down Ashoka. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6. Scroll of regen.
Demi did a good job. Nim did a good job. We're going to give him a present.
Are you paying right now, or?
No.
Yeah.
He might piss me off before. Before he gets done.
He doesn't seem to require payment up front.
No. Asmodeans don't typically... Asmodeans like having people who owe them things.
I assume as a high-profile public figure, he's hinting at... I don't know. You've never been described as that before. I shall send the paperwork over to your place of business.
That can work.
Excellent. It is always good to mix pleasure with business, and he raises his tiny glass and clinks it. Damian finally comes down the stairs
You
after...
get right, they're one and the same.
Damien finally comes down the stairs after he's berated Measley to stop bugging him about simple things.
And I swear, if I have to come up there again, I'm gonna poke you in your other eye, you feeble old bastard. Thank you, by the way.
A couple of soldiers that were off duty and having a beer are deciding to leave the presence of Damien after he yelled at them. And your mother was off to doing something else at the moment. You could see Ashoka, Kamos, Lorn, and Under-Countess sitting at a table. However, Kamos is getting up at this point, and he looks like he's leaving.
Kamos, leaving so soon.
Let's do the time warp again.
Mark, your internet's sucky.
Hello? Can
Yes.
you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, not again.
I'm guessing that he's running out of RAM, and it's going into paging, and he's paging the video file for the stream.
I'm guessing that it's his router that hasn't been reset in like 6 months and needs a good reboot.
Damn it, Measley!
All right, so you've bought a scroll. Great. Let's go to Sid. What does Sid want to do with a little bit of extra time after returning from Anchor Deep?
He's gonna spy like as a week or as a encounter.
No, it'll be you'll have less dice to do it.
This is after the fight with Fleas.
This is in the same.
Should be the same block.
No, this is 2 weeks after.
Oh, 2 weeks after.
Well, this should be Fleas' next fight.
Yeah, Fleas will be fighting Barak Tarn this week.
You mean Fleas is going to get blown out by Barak Tarn?
Right.
Save me, Paladin. Don't mercy, Paladin. I didn't mean to murder the last one.
Dink murders Barak Tarn. Fuck. It could happen with those rolls, 20/20 or whatever it was.
98%.
No, Fleas. Sid's is no one to spy on unless Ashoka or Zed have someone in mind. He doesn't have any. He's kind of keeping himself ready to go at any time, so he doesn't want to get involved in anything right now.
Okay.
Going for the pirates, like he's prepping for that.
Yeah, that's next week. Are there anything that he wants to buy then? You have probably 7 days worth of commerce before leaving. 7 or 8 days. That's $8,000 you could buy or sell. Make potions, that sort of thing.
Yes, I will answer that as soon as I find out how much money I have, because I don't think I have that much.
Okay. Zed is spending his time leading the Ludus because Magnus is still kind of not acting like the leader anymore.
He's busy pouting. He's
Yep.
pouting in adult form.
What are you talking about? I'm not allowed to. How the hell am I supposed to lead when I'm in chains?
Good question. Looks like Damian wanted RP with his family. We'll wait until Mark is back online. The first $5,000 of Magnus's ring has been spent. Well, actually, what was the total for the ring?
The ring, it was $8,000, I believe.
Okay, so the first $5,000 has been spent, and you spent 5 days.
Can she fast craft those?
She can, but she's going to charge more for it.
Yeah. How much?
Okay, so let's just go back to the Ring of Sustenance.
Let her know that I have a lot of business in mind.
Okay, market price for Ring of Sustenance, 2,500 times 1.5 for it being a tattoo times 2 for it being slotless. Fast craft will cost you $2,000 extra.
Done.
Okay, so the ring then
It's done.
is done
Okay.
in that first week.
I'd like her to start another tattoo.
Give me a second. Divide by 2. Yeah, you'd only have a day in that 5-day period.
So I made a mistake, and the thing that I wanted, the extra thing that I wanted, is actually 2250. So she wouldn't be able to fast craft that in a day.
No.
So I'll have to wait till the next thing that I want.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So is that you basically kind of like buying and selling? You're leaning toward these tattoos, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you can add the tattoo of basically it's a symbol of sustenance at the top of the roof of your mouth. Super cool.
Yeah.
It's like a KFC bucket.
No, it's not. I don't think that's how it works, Adam. Adam just cutting up KFC buckets. His wife's like, "What are you doing?" It keeps me from being hungry all day. I just stuffed this up in here.
Tastes like chicken.
Not how it works. You're doing it wrong. Okay. Zed said he wanted RP tattoo, so Zed shows up to the shop while Magnus is at the shop, and then Scarab has the really boring job of keeping watch over Magnus.
Magnus offers Zed to have the same tattoo. He's like, "Hey, do you want the same thing?"
I'm not here for tattoos.
Where is
Too bad,
Magnus?
it's actually quite useful.
Do you know where Magnus's token is?
Magnus is with Ajax.
Oh, you guys stopped by Age. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, that was the last week or before the fight, and for some reason still there.
Right.
Still hanging.
Not very far away. So Scarab's reading an old loose leaf printout of like gambling odds or something like that from like fights last season that had just happened to be in the skin painter's shop. Phelan of the Warlanders kind of holding like one of Magnus's swords and sort of like nodding off, nodding off in a seat near Magnus as Magnus is chewing on some ice when you arrive in the skin painter's shop.
It appears you're already here.
Another gladiator. Good to see you, Zed. How is little Zargon doing?
Little Zargon is doing well. Are you able to tattoo his scales?
Very interesting challenge. But he can be harmed.
They have not hardened with magic yet.
Even if they did, I do have magic needles. There are some that have more powerful spells than Zargon, and I must be prepared for those customers. It will be extra, however. Dragon scales are not as malleable as skin.
Understood. Are you familiar with other modifications?
Of course.
Along the lines of, what was it? Brog's stomach.
I'm the one that crafted Brog's stomach. There was a bit of trial and error in the beginning. Brog almost... He's well now.
You were going to say croaked, weren't you?
She giggles a little bit. I was going to say starved to death, but I think he eats more than he needs to now.
If you were to attempt to replace a more vital organ.
Interesting. Step into my office, shall we? Actually, she looks back. Or can this be...
Magnus flexing at them in the mirror.
Or can this be spoken of in front of the fellows from your own Ludus, she says quietly.
Let's step it back.
Okay, you step into her office while leaving Magnus. Continue to eat the ice, Magnus. You don't want your mouth to puff up.
Well, no problem.
Okay. Zargon is a pet of a very important client of mine. Someone whom I wish not to piss off.
You are aware, then?
Of course I'm aware. He half expected the Conclave of the Crimson Scale to, well, keep some of his experiments.
This is funny because Zed actually doesn't know anything about Vogel aside there's some
Yep.
rich guy who owns the dragon.
He paid for he paid for Brog's surgery. He also paid for one named Nitsa Cray. I've been painting undead things into his flesh.
I'm familiar with Nitsa.
I have not had a chance to work on Chanticleer yet. He wants me to try to imbue his skin with elementals.
I am interested in that experiment. He would want fire under his skin.
Yes. And are you wearing a Kozuthan holy symbol, or?
Yeah,
Yeah, her eyes do go to it. Perhaps I could convince you to be my first.
very likely.
Now, what do you want me to do to the dragon?
I want you to cut out his heart.
You're not joking. Oh.
No.
Why would we want to do that? Put a troll heart in the... I've heard of some mad wizard trying to gain the regeneration of trolls and replacing his own heart with that of a troll. Went very messy every single time he does it. Tried it on himself when his heart was nearly ready to fail, and well, he just died.
This is not the heart of a troll we'd be replacing it with. Although it was in a troll.
Ah, that thing. Yes, the fight with Zargon. Interesting. What is it?
Give me a second. What Zed knows of the... ooh, it's not in the artifact section. Is on Zargon sheet, maybe? Zargon red. Zargon is son of a bitch. Kick the heart at him. It's the... oh no. Is it in our treasure?
The heart of the...
It's the heart of... I want to say it's like the warrior's heart.
The Iron Heart of the Warrior, I think it was called.
Iron Heart of the Warrior. Iron Heart of the Warrior.
I would, of course, have to study such a thing before trying such a... Swap is such a common word. What is a better word for this? Exchange, replacement, transplant. That's
Of course,
it.
we would not want Zargon to die.
That would be the opposite desire of surgery. I could perform the delicate cuts. However, we would need a powerful priest to provide healing. More powerful, the better.
What kind of healing?
Heal spell. Regenerate may be too aggressive. It depends on the item. It depends on the thing. I would have to study its properties first. Bring me the heart, and we shall see. I'll also have to examine Zargon, and perhaps ask a few wizards about the anatomy of dragons.
He grows very quickly for a dragon. Also, I'm told, as I have no ranks in Belgium.
That would be a very difficult problem if the heart does not grow with it.
The heart grew for the troll.
Good. Well, first step, let me have a look at Zargon's heart, the one you want to put inside of him. And then I will spend some time at the Tower of the Sage, if they let me look through their dusty old tomes, and hopefully some human wizard, before he crapped himself to death, wrote some of his knowledge down. She's an elf.
So, Mark's pose. Oh, he's coming back into the call.
Okay. I can't see him.
Oh, he had like a pious pose this time.
Okay. It's like, please
last
work.
time he had like a.
Please work. Okay. Yeah. She needs to study the heart and then spend some time learning about. And then she says, you need to find me a healer. The better the healer.
Wait. This is 1/3 of the equation. We need a healer.
Yep.
We need a crafter, and we need a surgeon. So we have a surgeon. We still need a healer and a crafter. We need the stasis box of the Pumpicus.
Sure. So Zed, tattoo lady, done. Ashoka spy network, spying on the river market. May as well do this role now. And the Ludus spy network on Old Dreg.
All right. How many dice?
Ashoka spy network is 14 dice, because 6 was spending time pretending to be Ashoka, and he was distracted by it.
That's all right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 if it's a normal roll, more if there's advantage.
Okay. On the river market area, you learned that that recently the Duke has been filling his prison full of men who can fight. And has been cutting off some of the good blood.
Wait. Sorry. I'm making my notes. So Duke Caramel.
No, Duke Draggle.
Sorry.
Has had his men sifting through the river market to find slaves that can fight. And that they've been they're being brought to Vatapole jail or to the dungeons of Castle Vidaska.
Okay. And Draggle is that's the Druger guy, right?
No, Draggle is your Duke.
Our Duke.
Okay, sorry. Our Duke is
Collecting soldiers.
collecting. I don't know. Maybe soldiers. He's doing something.
Now, a lot of refugees and even captured barbarians from the north, as there are movements of people coming from the north, are making their way to River Market. The thing that you learn is that this is the tip of the spear of people coming to Vatapole.
So refugees and barbarians, which can also be refugees, as those aren't mutually exclusive terms, coming south, more to arrive. Okay.
So that was 1, 2, 3. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4 more. The coalition of the Black Crucible chose their Ludus location to get first jump in the river market. They are strategically placed. And you learn that they are after a veteran level monk. Yes. Yes, I know.
Yeah, I know. Of course.
Monk! Monk!
I think she sees a monk outside.
You learn that the Knights of Vatapole have bought a bunch of slaves that they intend to use for some construction project, some labor force.
A labor force.
Yep.
Are building permits part of the world here?
You probably have to get permission to do big construction.
All right, so I'm going to make a note to look for the building permit trail.
Okay.
Something.
Give me a D6.
That's all right. I just typed D6 into my freaking character sheet. 2.
2. While searching the river market, some of your spies say if you're interested in buying a gladiator, there's a blooded gladiator that sticks out from the rest. Not quite veteran, but it's just information's information, right? Like there's currently somebody is selling a blooded gladiator that is better than just the average Joe.
Any description other than he seems good?
No, you'll have to. There is a blooded gladiator on the market currently.
Okay, with good stats or something.
Yeah.
A cool class or good stats. Okay.
I.e., we could roll it if you're interested in going and checking it out. Okay, that's about all you learn from from scouring the river market and concentrating your
That's cool.
Your espionage forces there.
I like the espionage networks. They are fucking awesome.
Good.
The spying on old.
Oh, you're Dreg, basically, is who you're spying on. Okay, great.
46, I think.
4 dice. Yep.
2 successes.
Dreg has a round that they weren't able to quite follow, but you know that he still lives in the northern part of the city, but he makes his way all the way down to the retreat. As he might have customers that also frequent the retreat. Ashoka might start to think a little bit more deeply about this. The people that have the penchant for gambling might also not have the mental fortitude to resist certain things that Dreg peddles. You don't know who they are. You just know that he has made his way down to there and is likely helping someone's life spiral into the toilet. Into the latrine.
Come
sorry.
on, man.
Drag you with your other success. You kind of get. I don't know if Ashoka knew this before, but you know the general neighborhood where Dreg must have his kip, his den. It's somewhere in there. They didn't find it very easily. They know that it's somewhere in this block.
I'm zooming out onto the map. Yeah.
You get from your spy network, or from the Ludus' spy network, that you get the sense that those people didn't want to mess with Dreg. Like, this is not a thing that made them happy to dive into.
Well, they shouldn't fuck up like they did last time.
No, as in they hope that this is not like their permanent job kind of thing. Like like these guys are the guys that should be like out watching fights and trying to figure out which gladiators on the up and coming and down, and
Yep.
They were hired by the Ludus kind of above board, and now you have them spying on a drug dealer, and they're like, Ashoka probably realizes that if he has like shit tasks for these people to do, he might start to lose. They might just start to quit. We got a mark back. Nice.
A marked chair with a pillow and what looks like a lantern and a bed sheet behind him. 2 lanterns?
Sona, he's being a bard for the fight with between Barak and the others. Damian spent time with the anchor. Hey, Mark, are you there? Are you going to join us, Mark? Hey, Mark?
Teacher Mark's in.
There we go. Mark, are you joining us?
Let's hope so.
Okay, great. You sound much better. What did Damian want to do? He said, "I've got written down RP with family." Was that the interrogation of your father?
Yes,
okay.
that's what that was.
Okay. You said you also wanted to talk to Camus Vorn.
Yes.
Or Camus Lorn, sorry. So Ashoka's off doing his own thing. Eventually, the Under-Countess returns back to where her husband is staying, which is in Castle Vidaska, and you do find Camus returning to the Crystal Golem Estates. You must have a room here. When you had mentioned it previously, you were sitting with your mum for a while, just chatting away. Where's your sister? Your mum was complaining that your sister wasn't back yet. Of course, she's trying to learn to become a wizard, and your mum can get a little fussy sometimes when their children are not around.
Yeah, okay. Yes, well, I'm sure she's at the tower or something.
She knows that I worked hard on this meal. Of course, she just ordered a bunch of servants around to gather up a meal. But the point of sitting down and eating, I suppose, together is the part that she's truly angry about.
Yes, well, perhaps she got distracted.
Oh, that girl's always getting distracted. Magic this and magic that.
Well, once you get the hang of it, it is quite exciting.
Don't know where you get it.
Oh, I've got an idea.
She throws a napkin at you, kind of thing. Of course you got your good looks and your magic from my side of the family.
Of course, mother.
The Krakensteins.
Has she looked into getting a teacher, being a proper one?
Well, she's at the tower, isn't she? Isn't that egg-headed fool the Grand Mage?
Yes, I've heard rumors he's out of town, though.
Oh, well, wizards, she says. I'm sure there's some other teachers there. She must be doing something.
Yeah, one would imagine she's not one to just sit on her hands.
Hmm. Oh, there's that priest again. Camus comes into the bar. He politely speaks to some people at a nearby table. And
Camus, how are you?
Ah, excellent this evening, Damian. How are you?
I'm actually quite curious about something.
He waves his hand at an open table and sits down, and somebody comes and puts some napkins and a small drink in front of him.
May I ask you a question regarding your religion?
Technically, you've already asked me a question, but go ahead.
I've asked you a question. This one's about your religion. I don't mean any offense. I'm just curious. What's the selling point? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but the end game is an eternity of suffering in hell, is it not?
Are you not suffering here?
Not particularly, though. Some might say those around me are.
Well, then you will have no problem in hell.
You're comparing this to hell.
Well, yes, it is rather chaotic. True, perhaps it is not the best and apt comparison, but it is one that you can start out from. Hell is a place where everyone is vying for power, position, and those that are good at doing it rise high, whereas those that are poor at it will remain in the gutters. Hell has much to offer those that come there. For those who prove themselves in this life as hell-bound, they can look forward to an eternity of games. And perhaps one day your soul would be forged into such a powerful being that you could rule over hell itself. And beyond.
Well, that is quite the pitch.
Drifting on some cloud eating grapes might be interesting for a decade or so. Come now, you must like games.
Well, everyone likes games.
There.
Always love games, haven't I, Mother?
She's like trying to futz around with like the settings, and it's not right, and she's getting drunker as the evening gets later, and you know where this is gonna go.
He snaps his fingers at a servant. Fetch Measley. In about 15 minutes, she'll be ready to go.
You've got such a wonderful family.
Yes, they're entertaining.
There are entire families that continue to live with each other in hell.
Really?
Of course. Hell is a place where you could go and visit some of your relatives.
No, I'm sure it's a place I can go to visit some of mine.
Specifically your relatives. Now, specifically my religion. I don't mean to brag, but there was a time when my deity was but a mere devil, and some perhaps even blasphemous for me to admit, but we are in good company. Perhaps a mortal? Now, that is conjecture, of course, but he was once a devil of great power, but he was not a god, until he convinced the other gods themselves, through his mastery of contract language, that they should embrace him as one of their fellows, and welcomed him into not one but a multitude of pantheons throughout the multiverse, and in so doing proved to all the other devils, and all the other devil lords, and all who aspired to be them, to be the Lord and reigning and only God of hell. How could you not be inspired by such a story? Even the Five-Face God himself contracts our Lord.
That was my next question, actually. You're not...
Of course, these are stories, and I am by no means trying to convince you to join our religion. In fact, I'm saying that perhaps you should not. He smiles.
Well, probably not. I have a question about the legality of your religion, though.
Ah, an interesting question. One that I am permitted to answer.
Good. Now, I know there's a shrine, or is it a small temple, to Asmodeus in Vinvosa, correct?
There is a temple there, yes. Some may call it small. On the grand scheme of the multiverse, it is small. But it is very important and strategic for our religion here on Tarak.
Oh, I imagine so. It's a hub of commerce and trade. However...
Our legal library at the Temple of Asmodeus is par none on Tarak, and perhaps even beyond. Of course, you wouldn't be interested in such things.
Who have you been talking to, Sense Motive? I probably can't touch this guy, but... 30.
Well, he knows that you introduced yourself as the lawyer for the Circus of Dread, and he was really interested in your family. So he's just smiling, like he knows what you might be into.
Oh, no, do you have special status with the church? Because I don't recall seeing too many Asmodeans fighting in the pits paying the blood tax.
Yes, our numbers are small upon this world, but we are of strategic interest to the Imperium itself.
How so?
We are an ally of theirs. While they are concentrated on I would say a dozen or so worlds, 5 or 6 firmly in their grasp. The Asmodean Church has a tiny piece of, I would say, 100.
Well, it must provide you with
All sorts of intelligence and information that the Imperium just can't help itself from consuming.
Really?
Yes, really.
Tell me, do you have a temple or shrine here in Vanderpool?
Oh no, we have not been permitted to open up such a place here. At least I don't think so. It has been some time since I have walked amongst the common people. Asmodeus is an old god compared to this 5-faced being. The story that I told you is a very old one. It predates some even pantheons. He has had a lot of time to enjoy his power, and not only has he proven that he is a conqueror with pen and ink, he has the might itself to keep what he has taken.
Yes, I imagine hell is filled with rivals.
Oh, yes. Games, as we've previously spoken about. Games, indeed.
Interesting. Have you ever been to your... Well, I'm assuming you've been to Vinvalsa?
I thought you were going to ask me if I've ever been to hell.
Have you?
A private matter. He smiles and leans back in his chair.
Well, you don't seem any worse for wear if you have.
Oh, I did not stay long. He gives you a wink.
Yes. Yes, Nem, we all want to see that.
Fox got some wild thoughts.
We got our own fan theory, yes!
We do. Fox has always been of the opinion that the Imperium seems way too lawful evil.
Well, I think it's what we've been dealing with is the lawful evil.
Perspective is a big part of it. There's a huge part of perspective. The thing is, there are some artifacts in play that I cannot find a good goddamn reason why it wouldn't be just you've declared war on all the gods at once type stuff, where it's just it's that level of vile where it's like would you oh no. That is a vile artifact. And they make them apparently with serial numbers. This is vile artifact number 3472 out of the assembly line of vile artifacts.
Which world are you complaining about again?
The box.
Yeah, I know.
This world is a very interesting world.
Well, this world is just getting interesting. I think we've just won the North, mind you. This little shadow war is basically either the shadows will wipe them out, or the savages, I mean, of course. And we'll have to deal with all those shadows,
Yes, the Shadow War.
or they'll be so grateful to us for eliminating the shadows that they'll just simply fall at our feet. Personally, I think we should just let them get wiped out. Saves a lot of muss and fuss, you know?
It depends. It depends what you're optimizing for in an outcome.
In my perspective, these barbarians are more trouble than what they're worth. We just want peace. Get rid of the barbarians, we get our peace. We can populate it with the north with farmers or whatever the hell we want.
Yes, it is taking the Imperium quite some time with this world, which suggests to me that they might be expending their true resources elsewhere. Perhaps it is only of periphery importance to the Imperium here.
More than likely, I don't claim to know the end goals of the Imperium itself. Besides, one is ambitious. Tarak should not be the pinnacle of one's success.
You know, they certainly have adopted a different tact here.
Yes, these gladiatorial games they were fun for a while and fun to watch. They're getting a little, I feel a little childish at this point. But keeps the locals in line, so I suppose it does have a purpose.
A bit of dread and circus.
Ha, yes. Suppose so. I have a question for you. Another one. Religion, again. Have you ever heard of something calling itself the source behind the light?
Interesting. It's some sort of cult of Palor.
Not according to this priest I know.
What priest?
The priest of the source behind the light.
Oh. You know a priest?
Yes, I do. I know a few priests.
Does this priest of this Palorite cult have a name?
Arlen, the fight bringer.
Arlen. Interesting.
Yeah, you probably saw him in Terra's Lean. Makes a squeaky sound when he moves about. And he's doing a wheelchair motion.
Ah, yes, Arlen. How very interesting. I did not realize he was one of them.
Sure doesn't have to screw Arlen over. Damien's gonna do it for him.
One of them?
Yes, about the time of the Shadow War, these strange cultists came crawling out of the east, babbling on about the source behind the light.
He claims it's an actual being here on Tarak.
Interesting. Very interesting. What if I were to tell you a story, Damian?
Well, I would say my dessert is coming, and I'll order us some more wine.
Excellent. When Tarak was young, or younger, there were great heroes, great beings, of all races in kind and kith. And some of them were so great that they could have even been considered the children of the gods, the archpriests of archpriests, or magi that could move continents with their magic, heroes of stories and legends that we seem to have stopped talking about in these times, replaced by stories of parochial, gladiatorial fights. These were the best of us. These were the sources of song and myth. Immortals that lived in the gulf between the deities and the rest of us. Do you know what the protocol is? When the Imperium first comes across a new world that it wants to consume.
Oh, I'm guessing I don't. Remind me.
There is no point in trying to conquer such a place if there are mortals that oppose you.
If there are mortals that oppose you?
Immortals.
Oh, immortals. So...
Tarak, even before the coming of the Undying Emperor, or perhaps even during that time, there was a great culling.
So if this creature did exist, the Imperium would very much like to know about it.
I suspect that the Imperium succeeded. Are there mortals walking around amongst us? How many stories of John the Strong or Jim the Magic User have you heard of lately, where they do things like move cities and change the tides and cast more magic than a whole cadre of mages? No, I have not heard any of these stories in my short time here in Vatapor. Have you in your short life?
No, I can't say that I have.
Yes, when one would suspect that the Imperium was successful in their calling. However, there are some beings that they obviously could not or did not call. This shadow in the north, curious that they did not kill her, despite winning this war. This source behind the light may very well be another. To us Asmodeans, this is most troubling.
Why in particular is this troubling?
We tend to like the status quo. The devil you know. He smiles.
Damien kind of chuckles a little bit. Like, yeah, the devil you know. All right.
There was something that we came across in the tomb of the Iron Medusa. Something that I'm not sure where it ended up.
What might that be?
I believe it is a weapon. A weapon of great importance to our faith. And I believe a weapon that may have been used in the time when the Imperium culled these mythical creatures from this world.
What sort of weapon?
Oh, some sort of sword. I was very disappointed to see it in the hands of the elves.
Well, I wouldn't call the person who's going to end up getting it. I doubt elf is the first word you use to describe them.
I'm sure that I could find a Asmodean somewhere who would reward you, if ever you had the opportunity to return the sword to us. They would see me coming from a mile away. He just kind of points up at his horns. But as I understand it, you've been contracted as an arbiter and have tried a case even in Terraslene. Oh, I mean Citadel by the Lake.
Yes, rather successfully, if I might do say so myself.
Well, if the opportunity presents itself to reclaim something lost to us, we would reward the mercenary, the hero who returned it to us, greatly.
Well, I shall keep that in mind if I should come across such a hero.
It was excellent talking to you, Damian. I feel hope for this generation.
He raises his wine glass to him.
Yep.
Cheers.
Yep, he cheerses.
To the devil you know.
To the devil you know. Which is apparently a candidate for tonight's game name. We'll see how it turns out. All right, so that was Damian chatting.
Sid did want to do something.
Yeah, sure.
For that week, he's going to spend his money to buy a +2 crossbow.
+2 crossbow is $8,000, 8,300, I believe, just on the market. 300 for masterwork and.
And he's going to borrow money from the Ludus.
Sure. Are you missing 300? Is that what you're saying? It's actually 8,335, I believe, for the light crossbow itself. If you really want to go down to.
He's taking the money.
Okay, all right. So subtract the difference.
335.
A crossbow is not a terribly rare weapon. It's a simple weapon. I have no problem with you.
I believe the Ludus has masterwork crossbows in there.
Yeah, so you can easily get one enchanted or buy one, so you can add that to your sheet after you subtract the money. Ashoka wanted to talk to Lanziver. Are you just going to his house again?
Oh, I'm hoping he'll start meeting me on dinner dates if possible.
Okay. You send a message and he says, "Yes, I'll meet you at Ollie's Wine Press." And Lanziver is going to Ollie's Blessed Press and meeting Ashoka there. Is Ashoka bringing anyone with him?
Bring them.
Okay. Nem is in what form? Bird form? Bird form?
It's birdie.
And where's Ashoka? Ashoka was... I lost his token again. It's around
I
here
think
somewhere.
he's at the Crystal Golem estate.
Nope. Oh yeah, he's just south of there. There we go. Alright, and Nem sitting on your shoulder.
Very polite of him to ask you out on a dinner date. It is good to see that you are being more social, master.
Yes. It's good for... It's good to get out and see your friends once in a while.
Oh, yes, and what nice and polite friends they are. There he is
Away-
now.
Away from the hustle and bustle.
Dookie dookie.
He is in bird form and sitting in the rafters of Ollie's Press. You've been there a couple times before. They don't seem to mind familiars being in here.
Lanziver, have a sandwich, why don't you?
Lanziver is already actually eating and drinking by the time you arrive. He looks like he's...
I'm famished. I put the finishing touches on it. The finishing touches, he glances around. Oh, it's going to be spectacular.
Oh, Lanziver, what are you cooking up?
Oh, it's already cooked. It's already cooked. Also, the mold is already done. We've already pulled the metal. It is cast, etched, and all ready. He is going to fail spectacularly.
I thought you were more of a master of illusions than physical crafts themselves.
Oh, I have a few things I learned in my youth. It's good to round yourself out a little. a little bit more than a little. He says he's eating, obviously, too many calories. He's got a little pot belly. But, yes, I'm a crafter, amongst other things. Most gnomes have lifetimes to perfect multiple crafts.
So when is the most appropriate time to spring this on him?
That is going to be the difficult
Put them in
part.
his place.
To make it organic. I'm thinking a gift from a wizard, yes. Once he dons it. Oh, he's going to think he's so powerful. But he's going to fail.
The timing will be crucial.
Yes. I have heard that he has, not been at the tower the last few days. You wouldn't happen to know where he is?
I believe he's on special assignment for the Duke.
Oh, well, if we can intercede when he comes back, and then... Yes, if he succeeds in his quest for the Duke, then we intercede before he has a chance to speak to the Duke. The Duke is a very busy man. Yes, I think I'm going to spend some time in the tower to lay my trap.
It would be best to spring the trap before he's able to tell the Duke of his success.
Yes, of course. He will return to the tower after he returns from his thing.
When does the spire go up?
Oh, it's like
Long time.
long time. Like the resources haven't even been brought to Battle yet.
All right. There's a plot in the ground. Like there's one shovel stuck in the ground going.
They've surveyed it and then filed their report.
Yeah. Yes. I'll have to go to the tower and perhaps survey. Now that piece is done, the crafty part, the illusory part, will begin. Oh, this is going to be so delicious, Ashoka.
It's delightful.
How could he resist such a beautiful thing as a ring of wizardry? It is my masterpiece.
The ultimate ruse.
Oh, they brought chips!
And what of the curse upon it, or is that a surprise?
Oh, it's going to be a magnificent surprise. But he will think that he will have tapped into such raw and unbridled arcane power. Oh, but he's going to fail. And while he is failing... I can only think of what will happen to a wizard if that happened to him.
More wine.
Oh, yes. Wash all this down. Chips are rather salty.
We will make certain Lanziver is well fed and well drunk.
Okay.
As we are... He wants to outcraft the crafter? Sure. That's an interesting tact. Also, having a cursed ring of wizardry that does something to a wizard is also good to just have around, so he obviously needs to finish creating the damn thing. Put on the ring.
Alright, so you spend time with your buddy Lanziver. He basically says he's going to basically move into the tower to figure out how to make him... spend a lot of time in tower to set up some illusions, is what he says.
I would be careful in the tower.
Why? I'm allowed to be there. I am the most senior wizard here.
He's lying.
We don't need to... He's allowed to have his lie. Just give him his lie. What's his name? I believe the battle mage has taken residence there. The war mage.
Duncan? Duncan isn't the Grand Mage. He's probably on some research project for the Duke.
Apparently he's been too busy crafting. He doesn't know where Phineas went. He doesn't know what What's happening with
He's
Duncan?
really this part of the plan's going to go easily. Well, to be fair, Ashoka is his, like, the other part of this plan, right?
Yep.
I would watch out for Duncan. Wouldn't want him to catch wind.
Duncan has no desire to be Grand Wizard. He's already passed that honor up. Duncan.
Well, last time I was at the tower, he was there and seemed somewhat annoyed.
Universalists pretending that they're evokers. That's Duncan.
Ashoka's like, bluff check. I knew that. Like, he doesn't just like go
Right.
stone faced. A wizard by Adam's own heart. That and diviner. Those are the only real way. Everyone else is doing it wrong.
Now, have you registered yet? Perhaps you could save your registration for the time of the strike. I could use perhaps a charmer like you to convince him to put on the ring. Distract him perhaps if he spends too much time trying to identify it. Oh.
This plan honestly sounds like it sexually rouses him.
Oh.
Oh. It would be a curse that is so hot.
He is excited about getting back at Phineas. Almost obsessed about it.
Yep. That's okay. The question is whether or not we let Phineas in on the ruse, or if we just
let him magoo his way through it.
let him magoo his way through the whole thing. Exactly.
It's such a great word you used there.
Well,
Fucking
it'll be one of those
egghead
things of,
Magoo.
like 10 years later, when like Ashoka's like, I need a favor, and Phineas is like, no, fuck yourself. What have you ever done for me?
Yeah, whatever you've done for me.
Let me show you something. What do you see here?
read this memory, you son of a bitch.
Alright, so I think we're good with Landover. Landover after eating.
I've got the details of the plan, which is a cursed ring of wizardry that's going to be blinging and will make you do something related to horrible ego, which I was worried he was going to make a cursed staff of power artifact or mock staff of power artifact that would do something else. So
How very polite of him to tell you what he was up to.
Says Nim later on.
extremely polite for him to tell me the secrets without even me needing to ask. He's very lonely. It's good to have friends when you're lonely.
It is good to have friends, Master. Yes, yes. But may you keep your enemies closer.
Of course, Nemi. Of course. Speaking of... Magnus has been a busy little bee, hasn't he?
Oh, yes, Magnus has been spending time. The Scarab has been taking him all around town.
Yes.
He must have been very bored in the temple full of the horrid priests.
Yes, he's apparently has already offended Yuri. Besmirched our good name. And now has made several wild inquiries. I mean,
Master,
some of these things...
I could not help but notice that Magnus spends a lot of time massaging his temples these days.
Does he now?
Yes, perhaps he had some sort of lobotomy when he was in the temple.
He fought the bear rather well. They
Oh,
couldn't
yes.
have took out too much.
No, you are so right. I'm so sorry for mentioning it. It is nothing, Master.
No, Nemi, we must be concerned about those under our care. It is only polite, of course.
Yes, a master must be concerned about all in his domain. That is another path, to walk the path of the master.
One day, Nem.
Oh, yes,
Be
for
no
sure.
path.
I thank you for having confidence in me. One day in a future campaign, I will be a different kind of devil for you to be.
Sorry.
The keep track of Magnus's headaches, if you would.
Oh, yes. Shall I start a journal?
Yes,
I like journaling.
of course. It's always good to keep records. It's also good to keep them hidden.
Rubbing his little claws together like he's doing a good work. All right.
All right. Tell me every time Magnus moves. Oh, no, that's different journal.
Week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Week 5 of the Tournament of the Blood Rose. I need to gather up the people from the conclave that are going to see the fight.
Fight, 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 fight.
Uh, can we still get tattoos if we're in this? If we're gonna go see the fight?
Yeah, 8 hours a day. So yeah, you can go watch the fight if you want. So effectively, we need the entourage from. Oh, is this Conclave versus Circus?
This is Conclave versus.
Oh, this is so awful, especially after the fucking butting of heads before.
Well, also, I threw myself on your paladin mercy. I can't. Why are you flying? Nobody said anything about flying.
Schedule.
This is so like not possible.
What level is Fleas?
So week 5 is Barak Tarn versus Fleas for the champion, the challenger for a championship. This is basically like the conference final, East versus West. And then the next week will be Tybalt versus Xanadu, the awakened constrictor. So yeah, this is.
Tybalt and Xanadu at the same time.
What's that?
I'd rather fight Tybalt and Xanadu at the same time.
All right, Ahmed. So you're controlling Barak.
Sure.
Okay, who is going to the fight first? 1, it is Conclave. 2, it is Circus. The Circus arrives first. So I think Arlen is in town with Ugg and Sam. Is that correct?
Yep, correct.
And then there's Barak. So you guys arrive. Today, Uldreg must be busy doing other things. He's not in the wings. Neither is Salonius Heavensward, although you do see some people offering you tokens of aspect as you're going into the Vatapole Civic Arena.
Nah, I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, just ignore them. Go through.
There is a priest. Let's see. Chanticleer is praying before the altar. You don't know if he's fighting today or whatnot, but he just seems to be. There's a bunch of little idols that are burning, and he's got his head tilted by the altar.
Hey, look, it's Fireman.
Ah, yes.
Hey, how you doing?
Sam, Arlen, Ugg, Barak.
Chanticleer? Pleasure to see you.
Yes. I wish to speak to Arlen. Alone.
Alone, or like alone?
It is of a religious matter.
All right, but we're gonna be within like a yelping dash, punching you in the nuts kind of distance. All right.
I will not bring harm of him.
Thankfully, includes no burning.
Yes, of course.
I was like, I'll win the firefight.
we'll wheel Arlen up to Chanticleer, and then we'll go to the other side of the room and sort of like turn her back, sort of.
He kind of invites you beside him.
Many of my family, of my congregation, have gone east. There are those that say certain magics are failing.
Yes, I could see that.
Do you know why? I ask because I have seen very impressive healing magic come from you. And I've actually spoken to a few of your followers here in the city.
I was like, who?
You have impressed some who have even cast aside the old gods. They speak of this source behind the light. What does this mean?
Chanticleer. When we pray to the gods, they respond by giving us magic, what we ask for, what we've gained, what we've earned, what we gained through the trust, magic that we use in their name.
Yes,
If they cannot hear us, then they cannot provide us with what we need. If they no longer hear us, then they have nothing to stay around for. My understanding is... bluff check, I guess. Something keeps us from reaching them. And that thing does not exist in the East. So, my god, however, is not affected by this. He hears and receives.
why? Why is your God special? Why is mine, who is flame eternal?
His flame will stay eternal. He just might decide that this world is not the best place for his followers. My God shines brightly, as yours does, in a different way. Without the heat, but a little bit of heat. Like there's a flame, like there's some candles and light and stuff, like on some of the thing. Arlen just puts his hand on top of him, like,
Yep.
we're not so different, you and I. He's not getting harmed. His hand down. My God is, well, present. I don't mean present in the sense of like a god is present. No, a god is on this world. He is here.
Many have gone east, towards the rising sun, to seek to be closer to Kazuth and others. There is a rumor that even the masked oracle failed to bring someone back to life recently.
When did this person die?
I don't know. Recently.
They died close. They died within Vatapol.
Still others speak as if their gods are leaving. And then the gods of death, from my conversations with them, believe that the gods of death are dying.
Well, that would be the logic that they would use, but... No.
Why Is your god special?
My god does not require the prayers as other gods do. He simply is. He simply provides because he is the source behind the light. He does not need the prayers or our souls.
It does not sound right.
It is complicated, but well, he is a god of light, something similar to what Pelor was, but different.
Many Pelorites died long ago. Their religion never recovered. Are you saying you are worshipping Pelor by a different name?
No, Pelor, from what I can tell, is no longer... No, it's not very strong here, but my god is.
How did you find this new god? There are no texts. There are no temples.
I was searching for salvation for a friend of mine. And you say there are no temples. In fact, he looks at like a reflection coming off like a mirror or a silver thing or whatever.
Yeah, there's all sorts of bronze and brass candle holders and that sort of thing in the room.
Your prayers can be heard through there. Pointing to all the reflections there. There.
These are fires lit by Kozuth. These are not your gods. This...
Fire similar to what Kozuth has, correct. But the light produced by them, the reflections they make, he's the source behind the light. Fire, Kozuth, but the light. It's different.
You've given me much to ponder.
If you need to speak more about this, perhaps see more about this, we can have further conversations.
Okay, give me a diplomacy check. You had 2. You were very careful and chose your words carefully. Do you have 5 ranks in diplomacy? You could also do a... Well, you're doing... 5 ranks in knowledge religion. You can also do a synergy bonus on this.
No, I don't.
Okay.
But I'll just roll a diplomacy.
He's, don't worry, he's our religious guide to the world.
Damn it.
Okay, he just seems like uncertain. He got some answers, but you didn't quite... From one priest to another, or oracle to another, or whatever, he does not seem satisfied, or is going to pray on it.
You can speak at any time.
Perhaps I will go east. Perhaps not.
You might find your answers in the east. Before you decide, do let me know. Might be able to help you.
Okay. While Ugg and Barak Tarn and Sam are ready, you can hear the crowds in the arena. What does Magnus's entourage look like? It's Magnus, Phelan carrying his weapon, Scarab carrying Magnus's chains, or leading Magnus's chains, Fleas, of course, wrapped in a robe and getting ready for his fight, Zed hanging out with Fleas, Sona coming to back up Fleas, and Nova acting as a guard.
Yep.
Entourage.
Here we go again.
Awesome.
We bring a whole bunch. We bring a lot more meat with us.
Oh, there's Magnus. Hey, Magnus. A couple of them come up to Magnus. We won a bunch of coins betting for you in the fight against the bear.
Yeah, you better. I better not hear you betting against me. This will be embarrassing. Good job. I'm happy for you. Keep doing my best.
Hey, do you want some of the bear's claws?
Yeah. Who doesn't?
I think Chebagas butchered the beast, or had one of his men to do it. Oh, they might. Yeah, I guess maybe we shouldn't sneak in there and take some of his claws. They might be preparing the bear for you.
Sorry, cut out.
They might be preparing the bear for you.
You get a cloak with like the head on top and the claws. Brr.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be pretty awesome.
I'm Baroness. No, that doesn't work. Meg Bear. No, that doesn't work either.
Oh, good luck today, Fleas. We put our
Magnus.
we put our winnings on you. They say we put our winnings on you. The conclave, go conclave! And they're like these two guards apparently are all pro conclave.
So much pressure.
Please will be fine. Did you guys ask for anything from
Yes.
Sid?
Sid?
Yes.
What did you ask from Sid?
Give me a second. I think I had it written on the sheet here. There was a resist acid,
Resist acid.
and I think it was a
Protection from acid.
no, it would just the one. It'd be like a resist acid and a
Okay, resist
it
acid.
was resist acid shield spell because he cast magic missiles in the fight.
Resist. Okay, give me a second.
And then I don't know if you have like a fly or something to allow like gap closing.
Give me a second.
If you didn't have that, then it would be like a
Oh,
bark skin.
Sid. Okay, so you want the energy is fine, the shield is fine, the fly is available, or a haste.
Oh, no haste. Fly. When you're fighting something that flies, you need to be able to fly. Okay, cool.
But I think flight is not allowed in the. Sid allows you like, are they allowed to fly?
They're just not allowed to fly away. I mean, the guy's got wings. The guy has wings. What the fuck?
Chanticleer is praying above the altar when Zed, Fleas, Magnus, and the others come in.
I bid you farewell for now. Speak to me anytime you will.
Yeah. You say goodbye to him, and now you guys are in the veins, getting ready. Sam and Ugg grabbed a drink while Barak Tarn is stretching.
There you go. How's your ear feeling? It was all gunky before.
It's fine now. It leaked out.
It's quite
Good to hear. Good to hear.
Sam.
He just nods to Sam like, yep, that's a joke. Barak Tarn's now like, doing a bunch of like fucking calisthenics and tumbles and stretching himself out and
That'll go foo for flame. Make a flame.
okay. Ugg is kind of helping Barak Tarn warm up, like all three of his fists glued little one are trying to jab at Barak Tarn while he's getting ready. He's sort of warming himself up. Moving over to the conclave as they're rising in, Zed goes up. I had an interesting conversation with Arlen. His god is called the source behind the light. He claims it is not Pelor. And there is no desire for him and his people to go east.
What would be the equivalent for, like, I'm trying to, like, pagan, but pagan just means that you worship a non-monolithic deity.
Yeah, so pagan might
this
be
would
the word.
I worship worship of a non-divine deity, like
Yeah, it's
worshiping a mortal type thing.
it's a great question.
Because I'm pretty certain that would be frowned upon by like all the people who like I worship gods. I worship a